works with freedom of expression, because I'm very involved with how artists are able to talk about the society they live in without being persecuted.
Well,
so kind of my political science background is interesting in the hard facts, the academic facts. But when I make art projects, when I make films, I try to talk using images. Try to talk using ideas and stereotypes, symbolism and things like that. So I usually say that I'm using reality as a base material. It's a bit difficult to see when they try to get to one image. So this was last year when I was here. Then you had one guy called Parit, the penguin. He was making demonstrations because last year they still hadn't changed the laws here like many know, that you could not be talking about politics if you're a group more than 4 people. So I was interested in how people could talk about political issues without really speaking about them. And during this performance, Parit was kind of just eating noodles. And it was called rehearsal for starvation, because he talked about how the corruption cripples the state, and the state will not have money to fund social service and things like that. So I was joining in with the journalists. It's almost like a performance in a way, trying to kind of document what was going on. Because all the people which was interested in the performance was mainly journalists, because people were afraid being associated with this kind of demonstration as well. And today the laws have changed, but I think a lot of these things are still in people's mind. When I talk to people, it still sticks to them in a way of kind of self-censorship. And I was interested in the activists because I read a report before I came to Thailand about how creative the activists were in comparison to the artists. And somebody could have said that the activists were more creative talking about the politics than the artists. So I wanted to go and see if that was the thing, if that was the reality. And I discovered through talking to lots of little activists that the reason, of course, why they are choosing this as a tactic, or this kind of like innocence acts, like eating noodles, reading George Orwell, using the Hunger Games signs, or just being together eating sandwiches, is because also they're afraid of repeating all the mistakes that happened in 2010 and earlier on when there were lots of violence and people got killed. And also to show other people that to talk about politics in a public setting is not something dangerous. It's something everyone can focus on. So I've been talking to lots of different people. Try to map how culture is being used. Because in Thailand you have also a junta prime minister who sings songs and releases them on YouTube. So using culture references to convey a message. Just like they use this military march after somebody said that they want to cut this expenditure in the military in Thailand by 20%. His reaction was to play this military march repeatedly on many radio stations, military radio stations. So I'm interested in how both sides are using culture codes to try to say something political. And I'm also interested in how the cityscape can be read, how a city talks, how the reflection of the voices, of the meaning of people are reflected in sound, noises, images, or whatever, the architecture, everything which the city represents. It's almost like when there are an explosion, there's an echo. I'm kind of interested if you have a meaning, if you have an attitude to something, if that can be read in the city. So when I came here the first time, I had a very open mind, and I had this kind of idea that I didn't want to go to the source straight away. I didn't want to talk to the people who had kind of like the answers about what was going on. I want to see if I could read something in the city. So I came here with a kind of fresh mind and trying to, when I went around walking in the city, I tried to kind of read if there was something in the city which could be interpreted as something related to the situation in Bangkok, Thailand, without discriminating anything. Everything I took inside, documented as an archive, and afterwards I would like to kind of evaluate, of course, and see what relevance it has, or doesn't. So I was interested when I talked to an architect. I was interested in how some of the landscape in Bangkok has changed due to political issues. And lots of people have been worried about the disappearance of, for example, this monument here, the Constitution Defense Monument, which has been moved one time before and now it's moved again. And people in the army doesn't want to say where it is. And this is all symbols about the democratic development in Thailand. And this is also the democratic revolution plaque, which is also changed with not focusing on democracy, but now focusing about the royal tradition of Thailand. And when I went to the Plaza of the King, I couldn't even find it, the new one. So maybe it's under some flowers, I'm not sure. So what I'm interested in is how politics are projected through images, small gestures, monuments, sounds, and how a city can project a dialogue. And the tools and the methods I've been using is just walking through the streets, trying to see if I can find something which kind of engaged me in a way. So it's a very physical experiment. The first time I came here, I walked and walked and walked and almost never took public transport, to see if there's something on the streets that can be talked to in a way, to have a dialogue. And also by doing that, I'm trying to say something about what is a political action and what is not. Is it possible to separate those two things if you are in this context, like Thailand is now and has been? And trying to see this kind of overlapping of the personal and the political, the experience and the present. And I've been earlier on very interested in Roland Barthes, where he talks about this little story here about the editors of the magazine Life rejected Hungarian photographers André Kertész's photographs when he arrived in the United States in 1937, because they said his images spoke too much. They made us reflect, suggest a meaning, a different meaning from the literal one. Ultimately, photography is subversive not when it frightens, repels, or even stigmatizes, but when it's pensive, when it thinks. So what I interpret, what he talks about, is more like how many meanings can an image contain, and how can image influence how we perceive the reality we're living in. And if you put the image in a certain context, how does it kind of talk to its surrounding? And I'm interested in if art has any influence in society. And during my studies, when I've been studying the situation in Burma, I've been working in Yangon for like 2 years when I made a film there, and I'm trying to study the influence of civil society, how artists project ideas and solutions or problems. So I'm interested in if art can be measured as having an influence on civil society or the way you think it. And the only thing I've kind of concluded so far up to today is more that art has a more collective function, of course, during a crisis. When I talk to people in Burma about art's function, lots of people say that art is very important. And art can reflect and talk about the reality. But when I talk to people in Norway, lots of people don't care about art and politics at all. So it seems like in the moment of the crisis, the highest point of crisis, kind of art maybe mobilize people together to form a common front in a way to define the situation, define identity, and things like that. But the kind of influence goes away after a time, a certain time. But in Yangon it's very different from Thailand. In Yangon there was lots of NGO supporting artists working with human rights issues. And after Aung San Suu Kyi was elected, lots of this NGO disappeared from the country. And then also, of course, the art changes in that way. So economy hasn't always a big influence on what art's being produced. And I think also the conflict in Thailand between a possible kind of separation of the art scene during the conflict here is been also based on arts funding, possibility to exhibit in galleries. So people may be afraid to be associated with certain projects. So what captured my mind in the beginning when I was traveling through Bangkok was this way they're using the Hunger Games signs, and also the way they kind of reflected to 1984 and George Orwell. Where this guy, the champ, he was part of a reading club, where they just did something together to be kind of showing their protest against the regime. And sometimes they read George Orwell, and sometimes they read something else. But what was kind of like the paradox of it was the kind of climax of these things, where this kind of lot of the media in the West thought it was totally hilarious that people just get arrested just by reading a book or eating a sandwich. So it was almost like they're talking a different language that the police and the army didn't understand. And I thought it was very interesting. It's almost like it is a performance. And also been interesting, as Henry said, about astrology. I don't know so much about tradition in Thailand, but I'm interested since I heard about it, that it has a function. And politicians go to astrologers to be consulted before they make important decisions. Like when the party, which is now banned for 10 years, proposed the princess as a prime minister candidate. They chose the time and the day after talking to astrologer. And also we had some of the activists, they're using kind of this garlic and spices and put it on the gates of the monument. Has to put a spell on the junta. And I think it's interesting how we use all these cultural references to talk about the current situation. And also the meaning of this kind of simple gestures. I think this is a policeman which was arrested this year or something like that, where they just did this gesture after a meeting. So as I said, the first step was coming here to just kind of like take in everything, try to be open for every image I see and see if it can have a meaning. If I can create a dialogue with the city, with the sounds, the movements, the smells, with the music, with the people I meet, just randomly. And then I'm not discriminating, I'm not thinking something is more important than other things. And the second step now in 2019 was more to talk to the people who's being activists, talk to architects, talk to academics, astrologers, artists, musicians, all kind of like direct links to people who have experience living here. And then trying to fuse these ideas together to create kind of like a question. And I was also interested in if the junta's formal law forbidding political gatherings, did that also stimulate a more creative political discussion in Thailand? And what is the changes now in the political discussion? I was reading in the newspaper that Riot was kind of like looked down upon by other PM candidates because he's only using pop cultural references, the songs and music and all these things. Because now the politician says that if we want to talk about politics, we don't want to sing a song. So then you can already read there's happened a change. From the time that it's only possible to talk about the situation through cultural codes, today, where there's more open political debate and people want to front certain specific cultural or political factual agendas. And just to show some lines back to some of my other works before I show I just put together 70 minutes of some clips which I've been working with now in Thailand. But it's just cut together very briefly, so it's not kind of like edited very well, because I have footage of 20 hours. So it's just to show you in a way how I think. But for the people who were not here last year when I showed some films in a series which I call The Art of Transition, then I can show you an example of what I mean by cultural activism. And this is a choir in Tangiat choir in Burma, which is a really old singing tradition, which has always been implied with political messages. So it's been forbidden for many years. But from 2013 it was allowed again. But still people were afraid to talk freely about the political situation. So as you can see here, they're singing about how the education has been destroyed through the dictatorship in Burma. After that, I made this film, which is called Burmese Days. Because in Burma, George Orwell was actually regarded as a prophet, because many of his books, they said that many of the books describe the situation so accurately. And he was actually stationed as a policeman in Burma as well during the colonial era. His real name is Eric Blair. So he wrote Burmese Days in Burma. And I thought it was interesting, this way of Orwellian interpretation of the country. So I worked together with a punk band in Burma, and using his lyrics as the kind of like theme of the whole film, where he talks about we are the urban rubbish, because people are treated like rubbish. And I try to link that up to lots of different other artists who's been in prison, working in art, using garbage to put things together. And documentary makers talking about garbage, and musicians, and lots of different things. And And that's kind of a film which is kind of dual screen, but I show it here as one projection. And I can just say something very quickly about the references. This is of course, I made these images because of reference to the surveillance. This is George Orwell, a typewriter. And she's working with a GoPro camera on his head, so she's filming herself when she's typing, and she's typing about what she's going to do tomorrow. And then later in the film you see I'm also filming this woman with another camera. And this is this is an artist who sentenced to 16 years in prison just to write poetry. So he spent 16 years in prison just to write poetry. And he started making art in prison by garbage. And here I was interested in using a hip-hop singer, a quite famous hip-hop singer in Burma, and to show kind of like the different layers he uses when he constructs, when he lays down a track, when he makes a song, as a reference to how history is constructed. History is written by the people who are the rulers, and history is constructed by many layers on top of each other. So by using this, starting here when he writes the song, showing the microphone, going to when he sings one of the layers on the track, the next track, and here he talks about the meaning when the song is about a kid who's been treated badly about his father, with the references to the junta in Burma.
Challenges that was talking about the country.
မြို့ပြတော့ထဲမှာငါတို့လမ်းလေးပြောက်အာကြီးနိုင်မယ်ဆိုအားလုံးဒူတွေထောက်အရှုံးပေးနေလို့ငါတို့စုံထိတိုက်ခိုက်စေစနစ်တစ်ခုရဲ့အောက်ဆုံးကငါတို့ပစ္စည်းမဲ့ဖက်ကကြာစင်းနေတဲ့ဒီနေရာမှာမနေခြင်းဘူးဖက်ကပုတ်တိုးနေတဲ့ဒီလိုဟာမနေနိုင်ဘူးငါတို့ကမြို့ပြအမိုက်
here I try to make references to Aung San Suu Kyi using a famous tale which is very famous in Myanmar. And then I'm going over with a documentary filmmaker, and he made a film about the floating tomatoes, which is about how people will grow tomatoes.
The floating tomatoes are singing the Kubar, I sing candy said that the Yajan not so much, I don't see me. Ye Java candy little guy or to a pure, but let's go. The Yema sheep there so long to the team. The real pure one, the year said it in the pure. I'm a good the Yema sheep or to the to the candy, to the candy, and my room without the sea through or so they have to pure I can't you to wait out to get to be a GU to be jealous to be in your generation 2, generation 1, alumni.
So it was interesting what was the essence of this documentary film. Because this documentary film that he made to clean up his inland lake where they grow tomatoes, because people use pesticide and they drink the water, they wash themselves in the water, they cook food with the water. So there was a lot of damages on the health of people. When he made this documentary, the Norwegian and American government, they kind of like gave some $1 million to clean up the lake. And I asked him a question about what was the essence of this film, and that was this, what he explained there. So I tried in a way to find lots of people who, in a fragmented way, it works like the situation in Burma, put together. So I'm kind of like mainly interested in kind of reflecting the structure in the place I'm working and showing the same structure in the work. And I've been working for many years. I worked with migration, immigration in Norway with people from the Balkans. When I travel around and talk to people. But then I heard about in Mexico, there is a local native tribe who's been crossing the American border many times and been expelled back to Mexico. So lots of the young kids, they speak English very well, but and they don't have any reference to Mexico anymore, and they kind of go back and forth to the border. But this, they made kind of a commemoration for all the people who have died crossing the border. And also, weirdly enough, as a kind of like team building, gathering thing. So they make kind of a recreation of a border crossing, and they arrange it every month. And this is 2,000 kilometers from the real border. And this is kind of mainly middle-class Mexican people who go there to kind of experience this thing, to see how the hardship is to cross the border. So my goal was to come here and to try to document this reenactment as real as possible. So I tried to show this kind of fiction as a non-fiction, as a reality. And this is also a 2-screen film. One of the cameras is with the people, the coyote, and he's the guide who leads the migrants over the border. And I was going with them with the camera in my head. And then the other one is a policeman. He's also part of this native tribe, where they have kind of bought American uniforms, and they have police cars, so everything is very real. And it's really dangerous. It's like 4.5 hours in the middle of the darkness in a forest, and you have no kind of like safety lines or whatever. And the interesting thing, this is not made for tourists coming from America or Europe. So I was the only white guy participating here. So this was from Mexico. But if you go to Europe and talk about migration or go to America, everybody thinks that all Mexicans are the same. All Mexicans want to go to America. But I met many Mexicans in Mexico who said that they never cross the border, the land border into America because they were so stigmatized. When you watch the film, it gets very disorientating because it's very dark. This is how it feels like when you're running around as well. And if you see the film very carefully, then you see that there's some places where I meet, these two films meet each other, like in this scene, we're watching at the same thing from two different angles. And of course, usually when you show it, it's much bigger screens, like the whole wall, so then it feels more. And also very interesting here when the border police are interrogating the border crossers.
Are you taking these people to the United States? ¿Cuánto le estás pagando a cada uno de ellos?
And what you want to see in the discussion here that these guys say, what's your name? My name is Carlos. Carlos what? Hernandez. And then, what's your name? Hernandez. And then, they have the same name. And then they laugh at the police. And what do you eat? Beans. They all eat beans. And these people are kind of using all these codes that they have experienced themselves meeting the border police in America. And I asked them if this was conscious decision to use these words when they were talking. And they didn't understand the questions because these guys has not gone to university. So it was really interesting to see the way the language was used in a way to show the difference between them and others and how they've been looked upon. And now finally I show something from Thailand here. But just bear in mind that it's just a very rough edit of some of the clips. I have over 20 hours of footage, and this is just, maybe the results can be 45 minutes, this is just 17 minutes.
พีระมิดคือที่เมื่อผู้ไม่ผิดพลาดและมีอำนาจเต็มความสำเร็จทุกชนิดผลที่ได้ทุกอย่างชัยชนะทุกครั้งจากค้นพบทางวิทยาศาสตร์ทุกประเภทความรู้ทั้งมวลความเฉลียวฉลาดทั้งหลายความสุขทั้งหมดความดีงามทั้งสิ้นทั้งปวงนับว่ามันจะการนำและแรงบันดาลใจของเมืองโดยตรงไม่เคยมีใครเห็นที่เมืองเขาคือใบหน้าบนป้ายประกาศคือเสียงในโทรทัศน์เราพอแน่ใจได้ทีเดียวก็พี่เบิ้มไม่มีวันตาย
And here it's supposed to be a voiceover, but it's not finished yet. There's only the text. this is one of the sites where they have removed the monuments.
ย่อหน้านี้นะครับเป็นย่อสุดท้ายของหนังสือ1984ซึ่งผมได้พูดกับนักข่าวนะครับเอาไว้ก่อนที่ผมจะถูกทหารกระชากตัวไปนะครับก็คือนักข่าวเนี่ยเขาถ้าผมจำไม่ผิดเขาถามว่าจะมาประท้วงอีกไหมนะครับผมก็เลยอ่านย่อสุดท้ายให้ฟังนะครับก็คือวินสตันเพ่งมองใบหน้าหมันมานั้น40 ปีเชียวหรือก่อนเขาจะเรียนรู้ว่ารอยยิ้มในการที่ซ่อนภายใต้พื้นดำนั้นโทษเอ๋ยก่อนเขาจะเป็นโหดร้ายที่ไม่ควรเกิดโทษเอ๋ยการหลบหนีอันดื้อรั้นดึงดันจากอ้อมอกซึ่งเปี่ยมด้วยความรักน้ำตาสองหยดกลิ่นยินค่อยๆหยาดลงสองข้างจมูกแต่ก็เป็นไม่ได้ดีทุกสิ่งทุกอย่างล้วนเป็นไปได้ดีการดิ้นรนต่อสู้จบลงแล้วเขาได้รับชัยชนะถึงตัวเองเขารักพี่เมื่อผมบอกให้ข่าวต่อไปว่าหนังสือเล่มนี้ไม่ได้จบลงด้วยชัยชนะแต่ว่ามันจบด้วยการพ่ายแพ้วินสตันถูกเอาเข้าห้องทรมานแล้วก็ล้างสมองจนยอมสยบให้กับเหตุการณ์โดยสมบูรณ์นะครับกลายเป็นคนที่ไม่มีจุดประสงค์อะไรในชีวิตต่อไปไม่ติดต่อขออะไรทั้งสิ้นนะครับส่วนตัวผมเองเนี่ยผมก็คิดว่าผมเองเนี่ยจะได้เป็นคนสุดท้ายที่ต่อสู้อยู่นะครับ1984เนี่ยแต่ว่าไปแล้วเนี่ยแม้กระทั่งทีเนี่ยเขาชื่อเดิมก็คือ The Last Man in Europe คนสุดท้ายในยุโรปนะครับมนุษย์สุดท้ายคืออะไรมนุษย์สุดท้ายคือมนุษย์ที่คิดเองเป็นคนที่รู้จักคิดรู้จักต่อต้านผู้มีอำนาจนะครับมนุษย์คนอื่น1984เนี่ยถูกล่าสมองเสียศพยอมไปแล้วนะครับหรือต่อให้อยู่รักสมองก็รู้จักที่จะอยู่เป็นหลงหางไม่หาเรื่องใส่ตัวนะครับวินสตันไม่ใช่วินสตันเป็นคนที่ทำงานอยู่ในกระทรวงความจริงหน้าที่โกหกที่รัฐบาลสร้างข่าวรัฐบาลแต่เขาก็รู้มาต่อต้านแต่สุดท้ายในตอนจบเขาถูกทรมานและจนยอมแพ้นะครับเขาจึงเป็นมนุษย์คนสุดท้ายมนุษย์ที่คิดเองเป็นสุดท้ายมนุษย์ที่ต่อต้านอำนาจเป็นสุดท้ายผมก็บอกนักข่าวไปว่าผมเองเนี่ยก็ขอเป็นสุดท้ายเหมือนกันก็คือผมคงยังไม่ยอมแพ้หรอกถ้ามีคนหนึ่งสู้ผมก็สู้แต่ถ้าคนยอมแพ้ผมเองก็จะยอมแพ้เป็นสุดท้ายเหมือนกันเหมือนกับมิสตันในชีวิตนี้อันนี้ก็คือข้อความสุดท้ายที่ผมได้บอกนักข่าวนะครับก่อนที่ผมจะลุกขึ้นยืนกลับบ้านแล้วก็จะถูกแต่ก็ไม่ได้กลับเพราะว่าถูกพาลากออกไป
So I didn't have time to subtitle that track because I just recorded it 2 days ago. But I just put it in because what he described, what he told me. This guy talking now is the guy who was reading George Orwell in this book, this earlier image I showed you. Maybe Henry can say something about translation. Henry?
Yes.
But just in general, what they're talking about, he was asked by a journalist in this reference to the main character in 1984. Winston. Okay, we don't have to translate it, but just to tell you what it was about, the context.
You mean the guy who got arrested?
The guy who just read
Yeah.
George Orwell.
Yes. He got arrested. Who is this?
Not the pen.
Who is this guy? I mean, like, so he's like do like a political act by reading it from 1984.
He read the book. Yeah, and then
He read the book in public, right?
yes.
Okay.
What?
No, I just asking. But like when you interview
You mean the guy that filmed or the guy who was talking?
The guys who's talking.
Yeah, that was the guy called Chan.
Champ?
Chan.
Okay.
This big guy with the black sunglasses. He used to be in a punk concert and want to talk about politics. And he was reading George Orwell in 2014 and was arrested everywhere. So I asked him about his relation to George Orwell in 1984. And then he told me this story about the journalist who asked me this question, what happens if you become like this guy in 1984? You're going to be part of the system. So he talks about that. That will explain to me in a way that I don't want to give up, I'm going to fight to the end. But if that happens in a way, then he said something, then it's going to be last man standing, something like that. Okay, that's it. Do you have any questions?
So I see that you're very intensely dealing with different topics and all these films, and I'm just wondering how you get in touch with the people that you show or talk about.
Well, usually I just walk the streets to meet people and I try to bring an interpreter with me. Or I talk to one person that I think is interesting and then he references me to other people and do lots of research. I read all the newspapers in Thailand, which is in English, so and I've been researching this for every film I make. I spend maybe over a year, so I kind of know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about culture activism. With the local context, that's what I'm trying to learn about, of course. But then I ask people. I asked this guy, and he told me about the whole movement, how it started, and everything like that. And then I choose some of these fragments, because I'm always more interested in what's in between the words than just trying to explain it.
And usually, will there be a translator, or do you speak many of those languages by yourself?
No, because at the beginning, when I made my first documentary, I made it in English, in a foreign country. And then I decided never to do that again, because you feel like when people listen to this in other English-speaking countries,